All right, what's up, everyone? This is the Osmo.com NHL Hit the Ice show. We've got a 7-game slate to talk about today. I'm joined, as I am every Thursday, with Steve Homercleese Bauer. Steve, how are you doing this afternoon?
Not too bad at all. Just looking forward to the slate. It's a pretty good size here. A lot of good spots, a lot of good teams in action. There's a lot of good matchups tonight. A lot of really good, top two teams in each conference kind of thing going on. So, really excited for the games themselves, actually.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Are we live right now? I can't tell because I clicked start streaming, but are you seeing anything on your YouTube page?
I haven't even got on it yet.
All right.
I didn't see the link.
If people are in chat, let us know if we're live because it's not showing us as being live right now on my screen.
Yeah, I don't see a picture.
Okay. I don't know. All right. Now it looks like we are live, I think. 7-game slate. Steve, how are you doing? Ready to talk some hockey here?
Yeah, not too bad. Let's see if we got it right this time. Looks like we're on. So
All right, we're good this time.
Yeah.
All
But
right.
yeah, anyway, like I was saying the first time, I'm not sure if this came through, but yeah, I'm really excited for the slate. Mostly, I guess, from a fan's perspective, not even just DFS. I just think there's a couple really good games tonight that like Leafs and Lightning and Jets and Preds, two good games to get excited for. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, for sure. So good night to have NHL TV. I don't know if these games are on national, so or maybe look up your favorite stream. Although I don't advocate for that. I know there's ways to get streams for free. I hear.
No, I totally advocate for that.
Save some money.
These cable companies are jerks. They charge too much.
That's true. I concur. I'm gonna send this link in chat. All right, let's see.
How are the Leafs going to beat the Bruins? What?
Who said that?
Corsi.
Win. In
they're
the
talking
playoffs.
about the playoffs.
Dude, we got
like
3 more months in the playoffs till the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, that's almost a sure. Like that's a likely matchup. Leafs and
Yeah,
Bruins.
they're gonna. Yeah.
Right.
Too.
Pretty certain, unless the Bruins fall off a little bit to a wild card or something. That might be their best approach, honestly.
Just avoid the Leafs in round 1.
No, I'd mostly avoid Tampa's side. But yeah.
Oh yeah. I always forget how the NHL playoffs go. Like you play the top 2 play each other or whatever in the division.
So number 1 seed gets the wild cards.
Yeah.
And then the 2 and 3 play each other in each division.
Okay. Yeah.
But you can do a crossover if you're, if you're one of the wild cards, you can do a crossover because the division winner with the most points gets the worst wild card team.
Right.
And then the next best division winner takes the other wild card team.
Right. Yeah. So that playoff race is gonna heat up. In the next few weeks, I'm sure after the All-Star break, there will be quite a bit of talk about that. Do you play a lot of NHL playoff DFS?
I do for the first round for sure.
Okay.
And then beyond that, I'll play the occasional big showdown contest or whatever.
Yeah.
They had a massive one in the finals last year. So
Yeah, that was really cool. I mean, I got crushed in it, but big turn. I think it was like 100K up top. It was like a
no, it wasn't that.
Or maybe 100K tototal. 20K up top?
Yeah, it's 20K
Yeah,
up top.
That's right.
I ended up coming second in that one.
Did you
Had a
really?
pretty good, yeah.
Nice.
And so I had a pretty good showing in that. But that was just luck, really. It's just lottery tickets, really.
Yeah, a lot of people just rooting for their teams in the playoffs. That makes sense. Great Ottawa call. So Steve probably had more of the Ottawa that you actually needed, like the power play. With like Duchesne, Stone, and Kachuk. That was kind of the best way to do it because White didn't really come through. But yeah, Ottawa was good as a team. They put up a handful of goals. But we kind of talked before we got on stream. Like you were about to have a really good night, kind of had a pretty bad beat, and then I just got smoked because I faded the Couturier line.
Yeah, I think it was 5 points out first. In second place
on FanDuel.
On FanDuel, and and had Riddick going and Gio going into the third period, and then he only faces 3 shots the rest of the game and gives them all up. Like doesn't make a single save the rest of the game. So that was kind of tilting, but
Yeah, for sure.
That's goalies for you. I think all the underdogs won last night.
Did they really?
Yeah,
All
pretty
five
sure.
games?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess they did. All right, so we got 7 games tonight. Like you mentioned, a couple of really good games to watch, a couple of games that'll be popular for NHL DFS. So we're going to go through all of them. And we are going to start right here with the Blues and the Bruins. Your team, 2.5 implied total for the Blues, 2.9 implied total for the Bruins. Jake Allen going up against Tuukka Rask. You're going back to the Bruins here on the back-to-back?
No, actually. No. I know we'll differ here, but I'm on the goalies in this game.
Okay.
And surprisingly, I'm on Jake Allen.
Really?
For GPPs, yeah. Just right off the top, I don't know, like he's played really, really well in Boston throughout his last several showings. He does really well against them. Bruins are on a back-to-back. Bruins have entered their stretch of the season where they are pumping shots on goal and making goalies look like Vezina candidates. So until they kind of break out there, no, in general, it's not just a streaky thing. It's the Blues have been playing phenomenally lately as a team. They've been the best team in the league over the last month at 5-on-5. So I'm not looking to target them at all, especially now with the team on back-to-back. Okay. A one-line team that's struggling to score somewhat lately. I mean, they pumped 40 shots against the Caps. Holtby was awesome. Pumped 40 shots against the Habs. Made Carey Price look like a star. Pumped 40 shots on Carter Hart last night. Made him look like a star. But the other thing is they're not generating a lot of high danger chances. That's the one thing I noticed. While Solaric had 2 goals last night, that line didn't have a single high danger chance.
Yeah. And
the Blues are not giving them up. So I think this just means a lot of volume going towards Allen tonight and not a lot of high danger chances.
No, that makes sense. Everything you say is pretty valid. I've come down off Boston one a little bit. I'm probably going to have like around 10% of them, which would probably be closer to the field than I anticipated earlier today, just because it's tougher than I thought to fit actually good lines based on how the lines are shaking out. There's a lot of good stuff in the mid-tier. You got this new Chicago line, a couple new Chicago lines, the Rangers, and then I really like the Predators top line, and I like Dallas 1. And those two are cheaper, so I'm probably going to have more of those lines and a little bit less of Boston 1 than I thought this morning when I wrote that. I don't hate the Allen call. He's been better on the road, too. I saw some of the beat writers pointed that as maybe a reason why he was going to get this start, and he actually he's going to start this game. I don't really like any of the other Boston lines. Do you like anything for stacks on St. Louis or just Jake Allen here?
Pretty much just the goalies in this game.
Okay.
I mean, Boston's not bad defensively. Their penalty kill has been they showed some signs of weakness lately as far as allowing high danger chances along those lines. So that's what kind of kept me a little bit on Flyers 2 last night, or at least like including them because they had 2 guys on the power play unit.
Okay.
So I think there's some path to success through the power play, but I mean the fact that the Blues power play is pretty disjointed doesn't really help the top line too much. They're nice and cheap, but it's always a tough matchup going into Boston. I don't, maybe they could score a goal or 2, but I don't think they have that GBP winning like hat trick or 3 or 4 goal kind of game in them.
Yeah. And there are actually a ton of other really good options, so I get it if you don't want to be on them, but making 100 lineups on DK, I'm definitely going to force some Boston 1 in, and I'm getting quite a bit of them organically, so without having to like stop my crunch or anything. So
yeah, certainly in MME formats, I'm going to have exposure to Boston 1 for sure.
Cool.
Because they are such a good line, right, in general. And it is Jake Allen, right? He's as well as he's played in Boston on the road this season. You get good or bad. There's no in between. He's either awesome or terrible.
Yeah.
So, Boston could have a really good night. Surprisingly, they've been good on back-to-backs as well. So they're a really good line. You want exposure to them, period. Yeah. But in my limited, if you're playing higher stakes or limited entries, I probably won't have any of them.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Are you getting? I know you kind of said you don't really like the Blues lines here, but would you go to the Schenn, Schwartz, Tarasenko line? Or are you worried about them getting hard matched against Bergeron?
They've
been doing some weird stuff. I
still think that's. Yeah, the other thing is that Boston is switching up that Corrali line a little bit with Backus now.
Oh, I didn't
in
see
for
that.
Chari.
Okay.
Yeah, so I wonder if they don't put them in the straight shutdown role
Okay.
like they did last game.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to expect with that. It makes it a little tricky. But yeah, I mean, just based on talent, I probably still go with the Tarasenko, Shen, Schwartz line. If you're full stacking, I do like O'Reilly and Perron just as a pair, right? They're duo, yeah. They're both on the power play unit, and they probably do avoid Bergeron. So, and they're cheaper. They're pretty cheap anyway.
Okay.
And Perron's been actually scoring goals lately, unlike the top line. So,
any defensemen of note here outside of maybe the obvious guys like Pietrangelo and Krug, if you are going to these top lines?
Perhaps Parayko. I think he could have a really good game here.
4,400.
Yep.
He's going to be virtually unowned, I would think, here.
Yep.
So
yeah,
I like the call.
I do like him. There's a lot of guys priced around the same price tag that are just. I'd much rather have Parayko.
Yeah.
Specifically in this next game.
The Islanders guys.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of the Islanders, we've got the Devils and the Islanders here. 2.7 implied total for the Devils. 3.4 for the Islanders. Mackenzie Blackwood going up against Thomas Greiss. We don't know exactly who's going yet for the Islanders, it looks like.
Because they have a back-to-back, I think. That's why they haven't decided.
Yeah, I think Trotz said that each goalie's going to get one, so you're probably not going to know until a half hour before this game starts, 6:30 Eastern. No Taylor Hall for the Devils. But what are you doing with this game? Big total here for the Islanders.
Yeah, mostly just on the Islanders side. I prefer Lander and net. Just as if him over Greiss, he's playing much better than Greiss is right now, and goalies are a really streaky bunch. So if Lander's in net, I have no interest in the double side. If Greiss is in net, I may consider some doubles. But either way, I'm not big on the doubles in general. It's the Islanders at home. They're just playing really well defensively, kind of leading towards the Barzal line.
Okay.
Even though he's getting quite expensive there.
Yeah.
Because it's really not a good power play matchup against the Devils.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you about that. Are you worried about the penalty kill here for the Devils? And that's probably why I wasn't getting to a lot of them. Like, they don't really pop on my projections. The Islanders don't, even with this big total. So I'm kind of just trying to take power plays out of it. I don't mind the Barzal call at all. I like the Nelson line a little bit, but I'm really not getting to a lot of Islanders. It kind of worries me. But now with these new lines on the Chicago side, the next game we'll talk about, and then the Rangers, I don't really think this game's going to be all that chalky, even with the big total. So, I don't know. What's your read on that?
Well, the price on Barzal makes it kind of difficult there.
Okay.
Overall, both lines are somewhat expensive for what team they're on. But I just think in a vacuum, I think they could have a decent game.
Okay.
One of those two lines could go off. So I do want some exposure to the Islanders.
Yeah. I think that's smart, especially in larger field tournaments.
Yeah. I'll have some of both lines, I should say. Yeah. So some of both lines, but a lean towards Barzal because it's not a power play matchup where the correlation is more important.
Yeah, that's like almost what I always do with the Islanders. When I'm on one of the lines, like it feels like they're pretty balanced, top six.
Yeah.
And now it makes it a little bit easier if this was a good power play match, just lock in the Nelson line because then you get full power play one correlation. But here it doesn't really matter all that much. So I'd like to split exposure with these Islanders lines, like you said. Do you have a lean on the Devils lines now that they've taken Palmieri away from Hischier?
Whatever line Coleman's on.
Coleman. Okay, so Coleman, Zajac, Palmieri.
Yeah, Coleman, Zajac, Palmieri.
Yeah.
So you put your two best scorers on the same line, so that's an easy one for me.
Yeah.
Although they likely go up against the Nelson line, I would guess.
Yeah, not a bad matchup there.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Devils are just so unappealing, and then there's rarely defensemen you're excited to stack.
I think they'll be very unknown tonight. I mean, in general, it hasn't been very profitable to go up against the Islanders this year.
They've been really good defensively. Very good.
I can think of maybe off the top of my head, this may be just bias, but Dallas won. Like their one game they had, the one good game Dallas won had this year was at the Islanders. But other than that, no one really scores against the Islanders. Or gives up. They don't give up much.
Complete 180 from where they were like a year ago.
Yeah.
So good for them, but kind of bad for us for DFS purposes. If you've caught on to it. I think
the problem. Sorry, continue.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think the problem with the Devils, the Palmieri line, is they're kind of expensive.
Well, Coleman's 5,500. I mean, he's been expensive.
Palmieri's 6,800, and at least Coleman's been scoring goals.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, Palmieri did recently, right? He's kind of turned it around, I guess.
Yeah,
but it's been a while.
Has their record, just kind of random, has their record turned around now? They were really hot record-wise without Hall. I don't know. How have they been in the win-loss lately?
I haven't paid specific attention to that, but
okay,
I wouldn't expect good.
Yeah. I don't know. People were talking
about... They've been better at home and bad on the road, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense. What about $4,400 Nick Leddy or Polak, Boychuk?
Hell no on Leddy.
No Leddy?
No chance.
Yeah, not a shot. Not a shot. Didn't know if I could sneak that one by you, but yeah, I don't like Leddy at all.
Yeah. Just like the only exceptions are when it's just a premium power play matchup.
Yeah.
That's the only time I'll play Leddy.
Right, and he's dirt cheap. Like, his price has raised $1,500 since last week. So, it's just, this power play matchup sucks. So, don't play Nick Leddy. Don't be fooled by the power play 1 tag he's got. Butcher, like Vatanen, these guys are all very unappealing to me. Severson, any of these guys you're one-offing? No?
Nah, probably stay away from them.
All right. We good to move on?
I only dip down to those Devils defensemen if they're in a favorable matchup, like if they're at home to Chicago.
Okay.
If you're big on the Devils offense in general, then I'll consider sprinkling in some of their defenders, but I'm never using them as a one-off in just some random matchup like this.
All right, ready to move on here?
Yeah.
Blackhawks and the Rangers, we got a 3.1 implied total for the Hawks, 3.4 for the Rangers. Colin Delia going up against Henrik Lundqvist. We've got what should be some pretty hefty ownership, probably on both sides here. Do you have a favorite line in this game, Steve?
Well, Rangers top line. The Hawks are just so bad. Every line's really bad defensively.
Yep.
And the Rangers top line is the best, has the best Corsi for percentage, at least best puck possession numbers. So it seems pretty easy for them. And then on the Hawks side, it's tricky with these new lines because I think the Taves line probably goes up against Zibanejad, would be my guess. So in theory, the Kane line's looking pretty good there.
Yeah.
But I don't know what they'll be like with Kajula. I know their advanced numbers are really poor, but they're still scoring. Kane's scoring goals like crazy. So I do want some exposure to Kane. I think the best way to get exposure to Chicago is a power play stack.
So go like Taves, DeBrincat, Kane type of thing?
Well, ideally, yes. I imagine that's quite expensive.
Yep.
I know it's pretty expensive on FanDuel. That's the ideal stack, I think, with maybe Gustafsson. But you could also just use Strome
instead of Taves.
Instead of Taves, yeah. So on DraftKings, they're both centers, so you could replace Taves with Strome. And on FanDuel, Strome's still a winger, so you could replace DeBrincat with Strome there, for example. But either way, I want Kane and some kind of exposure to that power play.
Okay.
The depth pieces the other pieces don't really do anything on the Hawks. It's just their superstars. Like, it's just the guys that are on the power play that are doing any of the scoring.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, you want the guys with the power play 1 tags here. Like, you can be fooled. The opposite of the Nick Leddy thing. Like, play the guys that are on the power play for the Hawks. Kane's just been on fire, out of this world lately. You've got Saad with Taves and DeBrincat. I think that's a pretty well-constructed line. Getting some love in the chat, it looks like. You said that the Zibanejad line was going to go up against Taves.
That would be my guess. Just looking at it, just looking at the names in there, which line would you think is the top line? Honestly, the Taves line has their best players, minus Kane.
Right, that's the thing, though. Like, do they just try to take Kane out of it? I don't know.
I don't know. Like, because I think they probably are fine trusting one of the other lines against Kane with Strome. Like, Strome and Kajula don't really move the meter there. So, I don't know. Like, I think you probably see Zibanejad against Taves, or they just split.
Okay. Yeah.
Play against both.
So really good matchup for the Zibanejad line. Either way, neither of those two lines are going to be great defensively for the Hawks, and they have full power play correlation. So this line, the Rangers' top line, could be the highest owned line of the night. Is that fair to say?
Based on what they did last game and the team they're playing, yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah. Just to kind of drive home the amount of chances that should be in this game, last 10 games of any team in the NHL, Hawks are giving up the most scoring chances against per 60, Rangers second most. And they are also both top 4 in high danger chances against per 60 in that time. So just 2 bad defensive teams that are even worse as of late. So
given those stats, right? Both teams are terrible defensively. But look at their offensive numbers. Neither team's generating anything. No shot attempts and no high danger scoring chances. The Hawks are getting all their offense from their power play. So I'm just trying to think of ways this game might fail. Just because of ownership, that's all I'm considering.
Hawks goalie has been okay.
Do you think he can?
Very good.
Yeah. Do you think that's one thing? I don't like playing goalies against the Rangers because they have such a low shot rate.
Yeah.
But then you have the Blackhawks who give up a high shot rate, so I don't know what's going to happen.
In these situations, I don't know. When it's 2 bad teams, I just give the advantage usually to the home team, and it's just so much easier, I think, to stack up Zibanejad. They're at home here; they get to choose what they think is the best matchup, and full power play correlation. And we know the Hawks suck, no matter whether they're at home or on the road. They're bad on the kill too, so even a bad team, this is still a good line on a bad team, the Zibanejad line. So. Where I don't know if we can say the same for both of these Blackhawks lines. So
so I mean, we know the offenses are in good spots and all that. The Rangers line is obviously going to be the biggest shock. I'm just wondering about the goalies here. Do I want how much do I want to have against them? Have of them?
Yeah, that's
exposure wise.
That's a good question.
That's the tricky part. So I'm trying to weigh that personally. I'm not sure right now.
Yeah,
I feel like I want to have at least 1 or 2 shares of D'Elia or Lundqvist just in case this game kind of duds, but I think game stack's probably the way to go, honestly.
Game stack, could get out of hand. Wide range of outcomes though. 2 bad teams. I think everyone just assumes this is going to be a shootout 100% of the time, and it's not. You could see this failing going 3-1 or something like that, and one of the goalies has a big performance. So just exposure all the way around. I think don't just ignore the goalies if you're MMEing.
Yeah.
What about any defenseman here? Shattenkirk, is he the guy you're trusting at 4,600 on that third pairing? Points grade A value on Osmos grades?
Yeah, top power. He's up to the top power play unit. They abandoned that 5-man forward stack. Mm-hmm. So that's a good one. Just as a creative thing, I'm wondering if I want to be substituting Buchnevich for any of those Rangers wingers for power play stacks. Maybe that could be a way to differentiate a touch.
Is he still playing fourth line that we're showing?
Fourth line, it's power play, so he's only going to score on the power play, really. He's not seeing a ton of even strength minutes.
Cody McLeod on his line.
Yeah, that line's terrible. That line is straight trash by all metrics, and they're not going to see a lot of minutes at 5-on-5, so it's just purely power play. But he's a big part of the power play.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad idea at all. Hawks are the worst team in the NHL at penalty killing, or one of the worst teams.
Yeah,
so it makes sense.
Yeah, and then the Hawks side is very clearly Gustafsson being the power play quarterback. As I just mentioned, how good their power play is and how good of a spot this is for their power play.
Yep. Yoki getting priced up a little bit. He's a guy I like to punt with when he's playing around 20 minutes and near min salary, but not really getting too much of him at 3,200. So probably going to pass on the rest of the Hawks defensemen. All right. Maple Leafs and the Lightning, 3.2 implied total for Toronto, 3.5 for Tampa. Frederik Andersen and Andrei Vasilevsky in net here. This one just loads of offensive talent, 2 really good goalies, another one probably with a huge range of outcomes as far as final score goes. So what are you seeing here, Steve?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Very wide range of outcomes. We saw the last game that they played in Tampa. It was about a month ago, and the Leafs just hammered the Lightning with shots, and Vasilevsky stood on his head. And then the Lightning won 4-1. They got goals from their depth lines. There was a Cirelli, Miller, and Killorn line or something like that. Got all the goals. So it was very highly owned, and then only Vasilevsky and the third line did anything. So But one thing I noticed, Tavares and Marner generated the most of the shots. Matthews and Nylander were both back at the time, so they were playing. Kadri line generated a bit of offense as well. The Leafs are always kind of tricky because they are so deep on offense. Any line can score, but for me, if I'm playing them tonight, I'm probably going to go with the Tavares, Marner, Janssen line.
Okay.
Their metrics together don't look great, but they're scoring goals. They're getting the results, but they're not generating a lot of high danger chances in 80 or so minutes they played together. But they're getting offense, so, and they're likely to go against the point line too.
Yeah, that's the better of the two matchups. So yeah, new lines on Toronto. I think Nolan touched on this in his article as well, or new-ish lines. You've got Matthews with Nylander and Hyman, and we have a pretty big sample, or a huge sample, basically all of last season. This trio skated together. The Janssen one with Tavares and Marner, pretty short sample, but they should be able to generate offense with those three players. And I lean towards the Matthews line. I think it's more of a price thing. I'm usually all over the Tavares line, but I think you're probably right. Point against Tavares, and then Stamkos probably sees the most time against Matthews. Stamkos' line is still not like terrifying defensively, so I'm probably going to go with Matthews and Nylander for the most part here. But I don't think there's anything wrong with the Tavares line here. I'm just not getting to a ton of them.
One thing I noticed actually looking at the last matchup, they didn't really hard match. They had the point line saw slightly more of Matthews last game, and the Stamkos line saw. No, I think they spread even exposure against the Tavares line.
Yeah. So
nothing crazy here. So maybe So we probably don't see anything too crazy here on matchups.
Okay. I don't know. My model likes attacking Tampa a little bit. I think it's more to do with the penalty kill and the amount of times they're shorthanded. So they're top 10 in the NHL. So I like Leafs here. Like I definitely want to have some Leafs, and I'm just giving the edge a little bit to the Matthews line.
Yeah.
What about any of these depth lines on either side, and then how much do you like the point line now that we kind of talked about them a little bit?
Yeah, it's just another touch on the power play there. The Leafs had a ton of power play opportunities against Tampa in that last game. So many, and they just couldn't score.
Okay.
So I don't know. I still give them a chance. Their power play has been less effective lately, but they're generating a ton of unblocked shot attempts and high danger chances. So they're just not getting the results. So they could go off. I do kind of like that. They had to switch up the power play just because of effectiveness. So, but in general, the Leafs' offense has been generating more shot attempts and high danger chances. They just haven't been getting the results lately. They've kind of been snake bit, so that's why they're changing up the lines again here. So, I don't know. I'm willing to take a shot on the Leafs. I kind of like their offense a bit more than I like Tampa tonight for some reason. I mean, it's Tampa at home, but
right. They always have these monster totals. I just always get worried about fading them, but they're just a team I never get right. I mean, you'd like to have the point line. I'd love to have the point line and a lot of them tonight, but I'm just not getting there. So it's just a product of my numbers liking other lines, like the one we'll talk about next game and actually the next couple games. So I don't know. Not saying I'm trying to intentionally fade Tampa here at home with the big total in what should be a high event matchup, but probably gonna have more exposure to the goalies in the Matthews line more than anything here.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I'll mix some exposure with the different lines here. It's just gonna be mix and match for me. But if I was just playing a single entry or something like that, I probably don't target this game.
I agree. Yeah, hoping this one stays somewhat quiet.
Yeah, I mean, because there's so much potential in this game for something's going to happen. Like someone's going to have a monster performance, whether it's the goalies or one of the lines. Someone's going to have a good game. So
that's perfect.
It's just hard to predict which one, who's going to do it. So it's good MME target, very good MME target. Maybe not a good single entry target.
Yeah, try to get overweight on something in this game if you're MME, whether it's a couple lines you like or a couple of the goalies, because there's just going to be. We're expecting to see so many shot attempts, and when that happens, it just something good has to happen for DFS. So
yeah. So personally, the lines I'm going to be overweight on are the Tavares line and probably the Stamkos line, I would think.
Okay. Yep.
Just because of pricing, and then I like Tavares line better.
Okay. What about goalies here? Is it pretty easy for the Leafs side? You just go Riley if you can afford it with the Tavares line, and then Gardner with the Matthews line. Is that pretty much how you do it?
Yeah. That's the best correlation, I think.
Okay. What about the Lightning side? Hedman is really tough to fit with some of these expensive power play one guys. But
yeah, I don't have a great feel for any of the Tampa defensemen, to be honest.
Neither do I. They rarely show up. Yeah. So, anything else you want to touch on in this game?
Not really.
Cool.
Pretty much just have some exposure to it if you're MMAing. That's about it.
Yeah. All right. Winnipeg and Nashville. We've got a 2.7 implied total for the Jets, 3.4 for the Predators. Connor Hellebuck and Pekka Rinne expected to go here. Victor Arvidsson coming off a hat trick. And, man, are we going back to them tonight? Seems like a pretty good price for Nashville 1 here in a perceived tough matchup, I would think.
Yeah, their numbers are phenomenal. Their shot rates are just crazy. So, I mean, play them every slate they play them. Mm-hmm. Matchups in this game, you're likely going to see the third line for Nashville go up against Scheifele, Wheeler, Connor, and they've been pretty solid defensively, at least, and decent enough in a shutdown role, but nothing special really. And I guess that means we see the Johansson line against the Line A line, which was what we want to target, right? Just looking at the numbers when they put Roslovic with them, they're not as bad defensively. I don't know if that's just a product of cupcake matchups playing against the depth of other teams, but they're not giving up the shot attempts and high danger chances that they were when it was Connor, Little, and Line A together.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And then I also see Nashville having a ton of ownership too.
You think so?
Well, just based on what they did last game. Anytime a guy's coming off a hat trick and how good they've been lately, they're pretty reasonably priced. I just have a bit of pause on Nashville here based on what I saw in their playoff matchup last year. Maybe I'm reading too much into that, but Hellebuck was awesome against them. Scheifele and Wheeler were awesome against the Preds. They had their way with them. Yep. Just absolutely lit them up. Rinne was really bad against the Jets. I don't know if that's just maybe a bad approach to take, reading too much into that or what, because the numbers say Nashville here.
Right.
But just watching them for a 7-game series, it's hard not to like the Winnipeg 1 in an underdog role here tonight in a low-owned matchup.
Yeah, I mean, if Winnipeg's going to put up a number here, I think it's going to come from the top line too.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not as great of a price, and it's a lower implied total and all that stuff, but that's going to mean lower ownership for Winnipeg 1. So it's not going to take much to get over the field, especially if you got Tampa 2 and all these other lines, Toronto, some of these expensive lines. I think Winnipeg 1's going to be pretty much an afterthought.
Yeah.
And anytime that's the case, like, you might as well go over the field on them because it's not going to take much. So what do you think they're going to be owned in like the $8 tournament or something?
Not very popular. I mean, they're considering what they did last game or previously. I know most of their goals came on empty nets, but just in general, I think it's not a great price play. If you just look at what Nashville's giving up, they're not bad defense. Like, they're pretty solid defensively, but they are giving up some shot attempts at 5-on-5. Penalty kill is not like they're giving up some stuff on the penalty kill. Yeah, so it's not a great matchup on paper. Like, if you're going through projections and stuff like that, they're not going to be a very good value at that price. It's a little bit better on FanDuel when Connor's still incredibly cheap over there. Mm-hmm. He's up to 5,900 now. At least he was in the 4s last game or something.
Just 7 games of playing with Scheifele and Wheeler.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But yeah, I don't know. This is just one of those bet on talent kind of games. They won't really pop as far as projections. I wouldn't call them good values here.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a feeling, bet on talent feeling.
You've got 3 wingers on Nashville's second line, Fiala, Yarncroc, and Craig Smith. So that's going to be pretty tough to do if you're not power play stacking with one of your stacks on Fantasy Cruncher, at least on DraftKings. Are they like that on FanDuel as well? Is Yarncroc a winger?
I think so.
Okay.
Yes, he is. Yeah, okay. So they have 2 centers on the third line and then 3 wingers on the second line.
Yeah, going to be tough to stack, but just be aware of that. If you're not getting any Nashville 2 and you're even strength stacking, that's probably why. But I don't really love them all that much anyways. So probably just the top line for me here, and maybe sprinkling a little bit of the Winnipeg top line as well. What else?
Yeah, so it's kind of tricky for me because Hellebuck was awesome against them in the playoffs last year, especially the games in Nashville. But he's been pretty poor so far this season. Brossoit has been playing much better than him lately.
Yeah.
So you could get bad Hellebuck in net, and it could be really good for the Nashville offense. That's kind of what the Vegas line is suggesting we see here.
Yeah.
So it's just the two sides of that, really.
Quite a roller coaster ride so far this season. What about defenseman here? Is Yossi your main target? Skating with Subban, it looks like, both on power play 1. Do you have a strong preference there?
I'll take the value on Subban now that he's playing with Yossi, and they're playing with the Johansson line at even strength and on the power play, so full correlation there. You probably see the Ekholm-Ellis line go with the Bonino line against Scheifele and Wheeler. So, well, Ekholm's been getting all the points lately. He doesn't really have any correlation with that top line.
Yeah. Yossi and Subban for me. So I'm going to try to get in Yossi as much as possible with Nashville 1, but if the $700 makes a difference, obviously no issue going down to Subban there. Anything on the Jet side? These weird power plays. Who knows if it's going to be Morrissey or Trouba? I don't even know who it was last game. Do you know?
It was Trouba. Okay. Trouba. So I'll take Trouba for sure. The Preds probably fire a lot more shots on net, and he's more of a shot blocker.
Okay.
Plus, he's got the top power play spot, so it's very clearly Trouba over Morrissey for me at a cheaper price tag too.
Tyler Myers value, of course, he says.
Yeah, that 3,700 is pretty solid.
Yeah. Are you taking the plunge with Connor Hellebuck here, or are you more of a Rene guy tonight?
In MME, I'll probably have some exposure, just see if they recapture some of that playoff magic they had against them.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond that, like, in a vacuum, no, I wouldn't play him in the spot. But
yeah, I'm hitting the caps on Rene, which worries me a little bit. But I think he's a good goalie. I think Nashville should win this game. But you're worrying me a little bit with the talk about how Winnipeg kind of dominated them last year in the playoffs.
In Nashville. It's funny.
They won 3 out of 4, right?
In Nashville, yeah, including dominating them in Game 5. And Rene just played so poorly against them. Yeah. So that's just why I have a bit of pause here. But I don't know. The numbers all suggest Nashville here.
Yeah.
Everything does. So I'm going against my two selves here. My narrative-based recency bias, like playoff bias there, or the actual stats.
Right.
I don't know. I can see pass for both sides here. But it's also two really good teams had matched head-to-head. So you don't really know how those are going to go. Another wide range of outcomes.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the Ducks and the Minnesota Wild. We've got a 2.4 implied total for the Ducks, 3 for the Wild. John Gibson in net against Alex Stalock. Looks like they're going to ride with Stalock, at least for the near future. The Wild are. Dubnyk's been really struggling. No surprise that Gibson's in net. Bunch of call-ups here for the Ducks. They sent Patrick Eves down on a rehab assignment or something. They traded Pontus Aberg to the Wild. Now he's going to play on the third line with Coyle, Parisi, and himself, and on the top power play. So revenge game here for Pontus.
Oh yeah, for sure. You know he's going to stick it to him. You know he's scoring. First game against the team that just ditched you. Mm-hmm. Absolutely scoring here.
And they ditched him in so they had lost 7 or 8 straight. Then they scratched him 4 games in a row. So. I'm sure he's going to be
now they've lost 11 straight.
Yeah. So, super weird. I don't know. Does that happen often? I can't remember that happening. Right away you face your team. They knew.
It's happened a few times. I think Matt Duchene, when he first got traded, they were playing the series over in Sweden or wherever it was. He got traded right before and then played them back-to-back games.
That's makes for.
It's happened a few times actually. I think Anders Nilsson just got traded from. Vancouver was in Ottawa, and he got traded. I'm not sure if it was before or after the game, but he just had to walk across the hall to the other dressing room.
Wow. That would be really interesting. Yeah. So for matchups in this game, Koivu against Getzlaf, that's pretty much a lock, right?
Yeah, I would think so. I haven't paid close attention to how they're matching, but that's what I'm assuming.
I'm pretty sure I checked earlier today, and it's going to be Koivu.
Yeah. They hard matched Kopitar last game, and then Stahl hard matched against the second line.
And then, that'd be even better for the Coil line if they can get the AHLers that they called up. So what are your favorite lines in this game, or do you have a favorite line?
Yes, that one you just mentioned.
Coil?
Friese, Coil, Aberg.
Yeah. Is that a fish play, though? Like, are people going to know the narrative with
it doesn't even matter narrative. He's an offensive player. They sat him because he's not good defensively. He's an offensive player. He's playing with Parise and Coyle, who's probably their best offensive spot tonight. And the power play against the Ducks, who are taking a lot of penalties and have a bad penalty kill.
Yeah,
it's a great spot, and he's 3,500. So, the narrative stuff just goes along with it, but it's a good play as it is.
Yeah, that's what I thought earlier today. I didn't know if I was just being a fish, though. So glad to hear you're on them. Confirmed not a fish play. They're cheap. 2 guys on the top power play. Coil on the second unit, so if they balance it out, you still got that. Suter's cheap enough. Bad penalty kill for the Ducks, like you said. And a team that takes a bunch of penalties already. And a Minnesota team that's just better when they're at home. Good even strength matchup, all this stuff. So they've got everything, price included. Any secondary lines here? Do you like the Koivu line, or are you worried about Raquel, Getzlaf, Sprong kind of canceling each other out?
I do like them as well. I think the Stahl line's the only line I don't like.
Yeah.
I think I want to have some Getzlaf exposure here, though. That line looks pretty solid. I don't think it's the best spot or matchup to go up against the Koivu line, but 26 minutes with that Sprong, Raquel, Getzlaf, high shot rate, high danger chances for. They're giving up defensively as well, though. They're giving up a lot defensively as well, so that's why I do like the Koivu line. Yeah. I will have exposure to the Koivu line and the Parise line.
Yep. Any interest in the Henrique line, or just think they're going to get handled by Stahl or Coyle?
I don't think they're going to get handled. I just don't think they have as much offensive potential as Getzlaf or Cal.
Yeah.
That's it.
Just caution.
On the road at. Yeah. I'll think about that one. That's a pretty good price tag, right?
It's all right.
You need 2 goals.
Yeah, that's the thing. You need 2 goals. You need at least 4 or 5 points out of the 3 of them, and both goals. So it's doable. They're going to avoid Koivu, which is nice, but the Parise line has been really good offensively, and I don't know about the Stahl line, but who knows? They're cheap enough. I'm taking a couple shots on them, and then
that's my favorite line.
The Getzlaf line.
No, the Parise, Coyle.
Oh yeah, on the other side. Gotcha. Yeah. I do. I had 6% of the Getzlaf line in my last crunch, which I'm pretty comfortable with, and then about the same for the Henrique line, just as filler stacks. Suter, Spurgeon. Do you have a preference there, Suter, because he's on power play 1?
Yeah, that's a pretty nice spot being on power play 1. In general, I like Spurgeon for his floor better, but yeah, Suter does have that power play spot.
I think we're going to see some Alex Stalock chalk. Are you with it at 7,500?
At that price tag, yeah. And he's also the cheapest goalie on FanDuel yet again.
He's still $7K?
7,300 there, yeah. Along with my sneaky pivot, Jake Allen there.
Nice.
But Stalock seems like the cash play on a site like that. Maybe even on DraftKings. I'm not sure. The Ducks have been shooting the puck a lot more lately, but they're not generating a lot of high danger chances. Decent amount, but not a lot.
Yeah.
And the Wild just aren't giving up high danger chances at all. So with the increased volume, you should see a lot of safer, lower danger shots.
Mm-hmm.
So I do like.
Yeah, the Wild should win this game. Stalock, 7,500. He's been pretty good. He was really good actually in that Kings start. Kind of saved them quite a few times. But I'm eating the chalk with Stalock, and then I don't have any Gibson, so I don't think I'm gonna get there by the time we get to lock. What about you? Got any interest in Gibson?
Um, kind of.
Just because he's
If
Gibson?
you look at last game, what Quick did against them last game.
Yeah.
There is upside there in shots. Like he put up, I think he scored 6 DraftKings points in a loss.
Yeah, he was awesome too. Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, Gibson's that kind of guy, right? If he gets peppered, he could have a good game. So I do want to include him for sure.
Okay.
It's risky. It's really risky.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the Kings and Stars last game of the night. We've got Jack Campbell going up against Ben Bishop. Jack Campbell revenge narrative is one that's new that I heard in chat today. So all the revenge narratives tonight. Looks like a pretty ugly game on the surface. I guess the real question is, are you going to Dallas 1 here? What do you think of them?
I think this is a good spot for them. As much as I hate playing them, how much they let me down, but I don't know. Campbell's played, 2 games since coming back from injury, and he's been pretty solid against 2 really good teams. Vegas and San Jose. He lost both games, but he only gave up 3 combined goals.
Yep.
He put up 8 points in a loss to Vegas, at Vegas, and he played at San Jose. So there's some GPP upside here. Like I want Dallas 1, and I will counter with some, or hedge with some Campbell, I believe.
Yeah, that's probably smart. Just Dallas goes in these, they just got shut out against Vasilevsky. Campbell's not Vasilevsky, but still, you could see him scoring 1 or 2 goals here and losing this game. So
yeah,
Campbell's
Dallas is still a one-line team, right? So if they don't score, then it's looking pretty good for the goalie.
Yep. I'm trying to see what they did last game. I'm pretty sure it was
alert. They came out with the refs, eh?
Yeah, I was going to mention that too.
This game?
Yep. This game.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So
yeah, so more Dallas then.
More Dallas. Have we checked on how he's been the last few games? I can't remember. We had him on.
He did the Caps and Preds game.
Well, yeah, and the Preds went nuts. But was that on the power
play?
Not
on the they had power play opportunities. They had a lot of opportunities on power play. They were just up by 7 already, so they didn't really do anything. They were just holding the puck. But the opportunities were there. I can't remember if he did a game since then. No, that was Tuesday.
That was Tuesday, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But there was a lot of power play opportunities for Nashville. It seemed like they had a lot of power play time.
Lots of offsetting, of course, he says. The real question is Jake on them. Yeah, I'm on Dallas 1. So if you loaded my projections on Fantasy Cruncher on Osmo.com, you'll see Dallas going to pop for you. So I get it. If you want to limit them, that's fine. But they're probably going to hit whatever I cap my lines at. So 20, 25%. Just going to trust the numbers here. It's going to be a good even strength matchup. They're probably going to go up against the Carter line and maybe even the Kempe line, whichever one they consider the second line. Probably Carter. I don't know. They're the best line in this game. Furman is the ref, so even better. They're expensive. I don't know how chalky they're going to be, but whatever it is, I'm eating the Dallas 1 here.
Yeah, I think that's smart. I think this is the place to play them. If you look in a vacuum at their price tags there, maybe there's better lines or more reliable lines that you see on the slate, but they're in tougher matchups. Mm-hmm. Look how many good plays there are in the Nashville-Winnipeg game or the Toronto-Tampa Bay game, another bunch of expensive stacks. They could see some ownership as well, but no one has just such a clear path to success as Dallas does, an easier path to success, I should say.
The Kings are so bad.
They're very bad.
So I don't know if Dallas can't get it done here, then whatever, it'll just be par for the course.
Then just never again. Yeah, if Dallas doesn't get it done here, then officially quitting them.
If they can't generate,
who would they have to play against? They'd have to have
Blackhawks
Chicago or the Rangers at Dallas.
Right. Yeah. This whatever. The Kings do an okay job of slowing down the pace, but they still they should. Dallas 1 should be able to crush them here. I don't know. They should.
I think the power play matchup is really good.
You're just praying PP1 smashes.
Yeah, there's that, and then they can still score at even strength. I mean, no one on the Kings is really scary.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I
They
think
they don't give up a ton of volume, any of the lines, but their high danger chances are middle of the pack.
Right.
And Dallas one is generating the high danger chances.
Sagan and Radulov, they generate so many high danger chances, and they hit so many posts. It's the most tilting thing in the world. So I'm sure I'll have my filler stacks just going nuts, and then I'll have all this Dallas one at the end, and I'll watch them put up like 4.5 DK points in total.
Yeah.
It's just gone that way so many times this year, but I'm going to continue to play them. So there you have it. The Dallas one cooler is on Dallas one. Anything else in this game you want to talk about?
Not really. I don't really want to play LA ever if I can help it. And beyond that, I just don't think there's anything great on Dallas. Maybe Cogliano, Dickinson, and Spezza can become something. They're super cheap there, but I just don't think I want to go there.
Yeah, that'd be like, a line I would have like 2% of, where I'd be going like Nashville 1 and Yossi and like Boston 1 as my 2 Dallas 3 stacks or whatever. So
yeah, they're super cheap.
But yeah. All right, there we go. We'll be tilting all the Dallas one in premium Slack tonight. You guys can use promo code HitTheIce to get 50% off your first month of Awesemo.com premium, your NHL package. And do that. You get access to my projections, Awesemo's rankings that come out each day around 3:30 Eastern. He ranks every stack and every player, points grade and value grade. And then, did I mention premium Slack? And then all the free stuff, of course, the power plays too. That's a premium article, cheat sheets, all the good stuff. So do that if you're on the fence. 50% off your first month with promo code HitTheIce. I don't know what that means in chat, but that's a weird way to end the show. You got anything else you want to talk about in this slate? Any last words of wisdom here, Steve?
Nothing really. There's a lot of really good offensive lines tonight, and I think I'm just going to focus on picking on the bad teams rather than trying to jam in some really good lines in tougher matchups.
Yeah. No, I think we did a good job covering it. Like the Keith Yandel night, just like don't overthink it. Play good teams, good lines against bad teams, and you've got a handful of those tonight. So don't try to get too cute. And we'll see you tomorrow. It'll be Nolan and I, and I think we're doing the Fantasy Cruncher and research show tomorrow. So come with questions. We'll probably do that before we do the live stream. So stay tuned for that. Good luck tonight, and let's win some money.
Good luck, guys.